Hey there guys, it's the beginning of May, which means it can only mean one thing, really. Time for another pickup video for my video game collection. That's right, I actually was able to go yard sailing this April, so if it was nice enough out, I went with some buds, and we picked up some really good stuff, which you can probably see behind me already. But let's get right into it. These are my April 2018 pickups. So the first thing on the list, I actually had a couple of friends from Connecticut come down to visit me, and when they did, they showered me with a few gifts. One of them I'll talk about a little bit later, but the other one I have right here in my possession, and that's Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance for PlayStation 2. Now I have it in a transparent keep case right now, because the keep case that it came in was a little bit torn up and it wasn't in very good condition. My friends Nathaniel and Shannon came down, and together we went to Central Islip to get some Mexican food to eat, and across the street was a game store that I actually didn't even know existed. So we went in, and before we even went out for food, Shannon and I were having a conversation about Baldur's Gate, and I told her that I didn't own any of them. So she recommended this one to me, and I said I'd have to pick it up. Well, when we were at the game store, she actually noticed that they had it there, and although the case wasn't in the best condition, she picked it up for me, and she gave it to me, and that was super sweet of her. I wasn't expecting that. Just one person trying to pass on something that they appreciate to another, and they don't worry about the money, they don't care about the sacrifice, they just wanted me to be able to play. And I think that's really cool of Shannon. She's super awesome. She's a very close friend of mine, so thank you so much, Shannon, if you're watching this. I did switch out the case, but everything's intact. This is the same art, and the disc and the manual are still in great condition. They already were. It was just the case itself, just the keep case, that was in bad condition. So I replaced that. I hope that doesn't bother you, because I'm going to play this and have a great time. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing. So as I said, I went yard sailing with my buddies Joe and Dustin this April, because it was finally nice enough out that people were starting to have yard sales again. And you know me, I love to go out yard sailing and find something cool. So that's what we did. And one of the first places that we stopped at, this kid was just kind of lounging around. He wasn't really part of the yard sale so much as he was just hanging out because his parents were having a yard sale. But I walked up to all of them, both parents and this kid, and I asked all of them, do you guys have any video games for sale? You know, any video games, but the older the better. And they both said no, the parents said no, but the kid said, actually, I have like a game or two I might want to get rid of because I don't really play it anymore. So the dad said, oh, if that's what you want to do, go ahead and do that. So he ran in, and he came back out, and he asked for $5, and I said, sure. And I walked away with his copy that he no longer wanted of Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. And this is actually a really good game, and I'm excited to have it, especially for just $5, which is a really good steal. I don't know if the original copy came with a manual, because a lot of games from this era and now in the present era are they're starting to go toward the digital manual only, so I don't know if this game actually has a manual. If it does, I'll have to pick it up eventually. But the disc is fine, and I checked it out before I gave him the $5, and it's in great condition. I always test my games before I put them on the shelf, so everything here works, everything that I'm going to be talking about. So safe to say this one works also. But thank you so much, child whose name I don't know. You remind me a lot of myself when I was your age, and I just, I wanted to be a part of my mom's yard sale, even though I didn't have anything to sell. So when the opportunity presented itself, I was like, yes, I get to make money of my own. So thank you so much for your copy of Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. I appreciate it. All right, I actually had a pretty big score at one yard sale in particular, where I got a bunch of Atari stuff, but I'll talk about the main event of that sale a little bit later. First, I want to talk about a couple of the games that I got from him. So first of all, as I said, it was Atari stuff mostly, although I did get a couple other things from him. And one of those games was Superman for the Atari 2600. Not a really good game, but it is infamous enough where I feel it's necessary for any collector who wants to collect for Atari 2600. And this game's been featured on an Angry Video Game Nerd episode, so you can actually check out what it's like there. but it's not really the best game in the world. um, in it, you are Superman, and you're trying to save Metropolis because that's what Superman does, but you're going to do it on the Atari with a joystick and a single button and see how that works out for you. I'm a big fan of old Atari games, but this one I'm not really too big on. However, again, it's a Superman game for Atari 2600, so it feels like it belongs in my collection, so I'm glad that I have this. Alright, those of you who know me know that my favorite sport is golf. So with that being said, here's Video Olympics. Like that one? Yeah, well, joke's on you. Because I also got golf. Let's talk about Video Olympics first, though. So, Video Olympics is a very early Atari 2600 cartridge. This is one of the earliest copies of it because it has this design on it instead of a traditional Atari design like this. But as you can see, it's actually multiple games in one, although it's not technically a compilation. And it has tons of games on it. It has Pong and Super Pong, Soccer, Foospong, whatever that is, Hockey, Quadra-Pong, whatever that is, Handball, Volleyball, and Basketball. So you can tell just how popular Pong was at the time because they were already coming up with variations for it, and 4 of the games that are on here are Pong related. And Video Olympics. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine what that exactly means, but I'm happy to own this. It says 21 Video Olympics on the spine. I'm not exactly sure why that is. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, and then of course, as I said, golf. 9 holes. Just 9. But anyway, yeah, my favorite sport is golf, and I enjoy playing it. But not really on Atari. It's blocky, and it's dumb, and it doesn't really respond super well. I mean, it's the most primitive type of golf video game you could possibly play. So how great could it be? But again, it's a staple of the Atari 2600 collection, so it was necessary for me to pick up, and I'm glad that I did. And now I'm going to go play it, I guess, in another life. Alright, I talked in a previous episode about how I don't like pinball video games too much, with the exception of Pokemon Pinball, because I really like actual pinball, and I don't think that video game pinball accurately does a good job of translating that to the screen. But nonetheless, I picked up Video Pinball for Atari 2600. There's really not much else I can say about it. It says it all in the title. It's Video Pinball. Is it good? Not really, but that's my opinion because not very many pinball video games to me are good at all. But hey, it's another staple of the 2600 collection, so let's play. And the last Atari game that I picked up from this gentleman at his yard sale is Super Challenge Football, which looks like this, and it's red like this, because this is actually a cartridge made by Mattel for the 2600, and they didn't want to use Atari cartridges. They wanted everyone to know, hey, Mattel makes better games because we have sweet, super cool cartridges like this. I have another Mattel cartridge called Frogs and Flies, which is an offshoot of a Mattel game called Frog Bog that came out for Intellivision. Frogs and Flies came out for 2600 and uses the same cartridge design as Super Challenge Football. Now, I've never played Super Challenge Football before, but gauging from what I assume is going to be an Atari football video game, I assume it's not going to be that great. But I'll have to give it a shot. I did test all of these. Again, I'll say that. I always test them before they go anywhere near the shelf. So it works. I just really haven't sat down to play it too much, because I'm not a big fan of football, and I'm also not a big fan of very primitive sports games. But hey, Super Challenge Football. Maybe I'll find a Super Challenge. Alright, same yard sale. As I said, I didn't only get Atari stuff. He was also selling a couple PC games, so I picked up a couple. First, I have SimCity Classic, the 1997 re-release. How do I know that? Because I do my research, and every different version is important. If you're not familiar with SimCity, it's a game in the Sims franchise where you build and you have to manage a fully functioning city. It was very popular, so popular in fact that it got ported to numerous consoles back in the day, but I think that the versions on computers are still the best because, of course, you get to use a mouse and a keyboard instead of a D-pad and buttons. However, the most famous version for any console that I know of is SimCity for Super Nintendo, which I have, and like so much that I also own it in the box with the manual. That's my preferred version of SimCity, but honestly, this is a better way to play SimCity on PC. That's honestly the way to do it. Although give SimCity for SNES a try. I enjoy that game, and I don't think that it's worth not playing. Although this game is probably worth playing a little bit more. Okay, growing up I was never the biggest fan of the Grand Theft Auto series, but I've gotten into it as an adult. And as with most franchises, if I start late, I like to go back and piece together all the different entries in the series that I missed. I'm having trouble talking today, I guess. I'm so excited for what I'm about to show you guys. But I got Grand Theft Auto 1 Director's Cut for PC, and it also came along with, I think it's, I'll have to read it because I don't know the title by heart yet, Grand Theft Auto Mission Pack Number 1, London 1969, which is an expansion pack for Grand Theft Auto 1, which gives it more missions. Grand Theft Auto, I don't really think I have to explain exactly what it is, but the original Grand Theft Auto is a top-down, like fully bird's-eye game where you do the same thing. You steal cars and complete missions, but God, is it so much different from what Grand Theft Auto is like today. It is almost an entirely different game. It may as well be. But yeah, I'm going to enjoy playing these because I like old games regardless of what genre they are. They just typically, they speak to me, even if they're primitive sports games like Super Challenge Football. But yeah, I'm going to have a good time, and maybe you will too. Pick these up. You might have a great time. Okay, we've made it to the last 4 things that I picked up, and they're all fantastic. But let's start with the least exciting thing to the most exciting thing, because that's the type of person that I am. The Jet Black GameCube. In a previous video, I traded with my buddy Joe for a Platinum GameCube, because growing up I only had the Indigo one. But I guess luck has struck again, and now I have another GameCube. This one, the Jet Black one. Unfortunately, the reset button is stuck in. I was able to get it out with some WD-40 before, but then when I was testing it, it got stuck again, and now I can't get it out again. So I'm going to have to open it up and push that reset button out, and I guess I'm going to have to rule out ever really being able to use this GameCube. But the gentleman selling it was selling it in pretty bad shape. It had a bunch of scuffs and scratches on it, which I was able to get out, but again, you assume all the risk when you're there buying it. You never mention that you can get them out, because even if you think you can, you really don't know. So don't mention anything. That's the condition they want to sell it in. They have to abide by the condition they're going to sell it. So, considering the reset button, and the fact that there were scuffs and scratches all over it, and he didn't give it to me with any AC adapter or RCA cable, I asked him if he would just do $5 on it. Now, it did come with 2 controllers, the black one that matches this, and also a traditional Indigo GameCube controller, but he agreed to $5 considering the condition and didn't put up a fight. It also came with a game inside, which is not inside now because he couldn't find the case for it, which sucks. But as with any game that I accept disc only, which is usually not often, I make my own replacement case until I can find one for myself. It just so happens, though, that the game that he gave me with the GameCube is Mario Kart Double Dash, an expensive game and a wonderful game. Unfortunately, since he couldn't find the case, I did have to make a replacement, as I said, so it doesn't come with the bonus disc, and I'm very upset about that. Although I'm also very happy that I was able to get this game and the GameCube for only $5. I'm about to live up my life on Rainbow Road. Alright, I talked about Atari stuff at that one gentleman's yard sale. And the reason why I keep talking about that isn't just because I got a bunch of Atari games, because that is awesome, but they're pretty inexpensive and I can find them practically anywhere for the same price as at retail as I could find at yard sales, because they're just that inexpensive. The real winner, though, is what else got sold to me. The Atari VCS. Now I say VCS because this is one of the original wood grain models from before the name was changed to Atari 2600. Originally this console was called the Atari Video Computer System, and collectors call that VCS for short. However, this isn't the first model. There are 3 wood grain models. The original Heavy Sixer, which has 6 face switches and has a little bit of a round bottom. The Light Sixer, which also has 6 switches but has an angular bottom like this. And this one. I don't think this one has a traditional name, but most collectors call it the VCS 4 switcher because it is not a 2600. It doesn't say 2600 on it. Actually, it would be on that side if it said 2600. And it has 4 switches, not to mention it's wood grain. So I already had a 2600. I had the Darth Vader model, which is all black and says Atari 2600 on this side. That's another reason you can tell that they're different. This, it works, it plays just great. He wanted a buttload of money for it, and I was not prepared to give him that buttload, but I offered him significantly less money. And because he didn't want to go through the hassle of putting it up for auction on eBay or selling it to a game store, he bit the bullet and he sold it to me for that astronomically infinitesimal price, along with the games that I showed you that were for Atari 2600. I am very happy to own this because for a while I've been looking for an original wood grain model of the VCS, but I've always had to settle for just having my regular Darth Vader 2600 and playing on that. Because these are kind of hard to come by and because they're more original, they're more expensive. But still, I'm very happy to own this, and it wouldn't have been possible without help from my buddy Joe, who helped to pay the man off because I didn't have every bit of money that he wanted. Joe had to shove a little bit of his own this dude's way as well. So thanks, Joe, for that. I really appreciate it. And let's move on to probably the best pickup that I had in April. This pickup is special to me because I not only got it from a friend, but I got it for free, and I wasn't expecting to. Back in January, I visited my friends Nathaniel and Shannon in Connecticut. I said that they came down here to visit me this past April, and that's true, but when I was up there in January, I got to talking about collecting with Nathaniel, and he had a copy of a game that I've been looking for a while, but it's rare and expensive, but he actually says, you know, I have a copy, and I don't really play it, and to be honest, although it is beloved by many, I don't really like it. Would you like to buy it off me for less than half of what it normally goes for? I said, yes, I would love to. But unfortunately, I don't have money on me right now to buy it from you. He said, well, that's no problem. If you want, I can hang on to it, and then when we come to visit you, I'll bring it down. And I said, please do. So April rolled around, I reminded Nathaniel to bring it down, and I had every intention of paying for it. But it just so happens that in March, Nathaniel's birthday passed. So I decided to buy him a copy of Metroid Samus Returns, because he's a big fan of the Metroid series like me. It also happens that my birthday was in February, so I didn't get the chance to give him his gift for his birthday, and I don't even think Nathaniel was thinking about my birthday. He had a lot going on, and that doesn't bother me, I'm just saying. So my birthday passed and his birthday passed between the last time I saw them and this past time. So he came down with the game, and I gave him his gift. And when he went to give me the game that he was going to sell to me, he decided, you know what? Happy birthday. And he just gave it to me for free. And that game is Secret of Mana. Secret of Mana is a wonderful action RPG by Squaresoft for the Super Nintendo. It is beloved by many, but apparently Nathaniel doesn't like it. And that's okay, because I do, and I'm so happy to own it because of him. Because he decided that I should have a birthday gift. It doesn't bother me at all. Maybe it should. I feel a little guilty because he wanted money for it, but he, out of the kindness of his heart, decided to give it to me for my birthday. And that speaks a lot to me because it means that he appreciates that I exist and am his friend. Secret of Mana is a fantastic game, and if you've never played it before, again, it is expensive, so I recommend picking it up for an emulator. And if you really like it and want to pick up the cartridge, they are expensive and hard to find, but do yourself a favor because it's a really great game. Just be careful, because it's so rare and so hard to find and so expensive, a lot of fakes of this game exist, and it is very easy to get yourself a reproduction without knowing. So if you want an authentic copy, you might have to do some research into what the board looks like and look for a listing on eBay of the game opened up so that you can see the board inside and know for sure. I've done that in the past. There's nothing wrong with doing it. It's not stingy, and you're not being a dick. You're trying to protect yourself from spending upwards of... This game can cost anywhere from $60 to $90, depending on the condition. And then especially if you get it with the box and the manual, it's astronomically high. And you do not want to spend all that money on a fake. So do your research. But thank you, Nathaniel. I know this copy is authentic because Nathaniel said that he's had it for a long time. And I did open it up and make sure just to be safe because I am that person. So sorry, Nathaniel. It's not that I don't trust you. I don't trust whoever you got this from. So there it is. And that brings me to the end of this video. So let's do one last jump cut. And then I'll talk about the end of this video. Here I am after the jump cut. Let's talk a little bit about projects on the channel. I want to take this small opportunity to talk about that. My new album for my music, Songs About Nothing, is coming out very, very soon. And to celebrate it, I'm thinking actually about doing a music video or two of some of the songs that are going to be on that album. So that might be a treat. Also, because it's May and I haven't done an episode of my Let's Play of Super Mario 64 in quite some time, I think it might actually be time to do that again. So this month is going to bring back Super Mario 64, the Let's Play the movie, the season finale, because I finally want to move on to something else. Not only that, but I am going to have a preview video of Songs About Nothing, in addition to the music videos, whether or not I make those. There will be a preview video like there has been for almost every one of my musical albums in the past. So if you're sticking with me for the gaming, that's great, but also if you're here because you're a fan of my music or my Let's Plays, that's awesome too. As far as the skits are concerned, I haven't done any sort of filmmaking with comedy sketches in a while, but I'm thinking about bringing that back as well because I have a lot of fun doing that, even if no one else is helping me. But now that I'm older and I have money, I can purchase better equipment, and I do actually have friends who are interested in getting into that with me and have expressed interest in it. So I will be on the internet making content, and let's hope you guys like it as much as I like it myself. But thanks for sticking around, and thank you very much for watching this pickup video for April. And May is going to be way better because I'm going to have more money.